everyone. I'm searching for a leopard. They've had fresh tracks in this area, so we're going to have a good look around. We're going to head just down towards a drainage line not far from us. It looks like tracks of a young male leopard. I'm not sure who it is, but let's see. Excuse me. Let's see if we have any luck. So I'm going to have to look very, very carefully around here. I hope our signal stays with us. You got him. Well spotted, well spotted. Hold on. Oh, great Sib. Sorry, I still can't see him. Just trying to reverse.
There is going to the left now. He's going back towards that
Jacoberry, alright. Okay, let's just get a view here. Sorry, I'm a bit low, so I can't see what Seb spotted around the back there. But I think this leopard's moving around. That's very exciting. Let's have a look. We'll spot it, Seb. See, as I said, having a look very, very carefully is important, but I'm looking into bushes at the moment. Hold on. Sorry, and the guys on the radio. Now it's multitasking central. Oh, go ahead. Okay, copy, thanks. Yeah, we caught a glimpse of him. We'll try to see him now. Oh, it is quite thick, everyone, so I'm just trying to move around, see if we can get a view of him. Hold on. Now, Philip, I'm going to get to your question now. I just want to work out. Seb, you say you saw him there, but now Andrew said he's seen one there. Unless he turned quickly.
It looked like he was heading towards here, but maybe he went down.
Yeah, he's in there. Hold on. Let's try and get a glimpse around here. Now, right down in this drainage line, somewhere. Philip, you asked if leopards have retractable claws. Yeah. I still can't see. Oh, through there. Here he is. Right, so now I wonder if it's not another one. He's right here. There we go. See, he went and lay down. There, but we've got him, everyone. I don't know. I'm just trying to have a look around, everyone, because Andrew said no. I think it's the same one. I think that he's got here. So, Philip, sorry, getting back to your question, the leopards do have retractable claws, very, very sharp retractable claws, and what a nice surprise. So our persistence paid off, and we've got a leopard, finally. We were getting worried this morning, but it's, as I always say, it's too soon to panic. Oh, that's wonderful. Now, that is so great. Now, well, and Seb, well spotted. And as I said, it's interesting. I thought there might have been another leopard in the area. I don't think so. I think this leopard's just been moving around here, this young male. And a lot of you apparently guessing that it's Hosanna. I haven't had a proper look yet, so I'm not going to guess yet either. And we'll wait till he comes out. I'm going to sit very patiently and watch him. Now, this is typical leopard behavior. Now, leopards have sometimes been referred to as fringe hunters. Now, what that basically means is they'll move along the fringes of the thicket, on the thicket line or drainage lines, and have a look for any potential prey that they might try and hunt. And this area, it's nice and thick, so it's easy for a leopard to hide and move through this area and they'll wait for animals like Inyala or bushbuck, possibly too, and also the impala that might be coming through. It's a lovely area for a leopard to be in. And you can see again, I mentioned it yesterday, but how they can disappear somewhat in this dappled light, this shadow and shade that he is in at the moment. Those spots and rosettes help their camouflage. Look at that, it almost disappears behind those branches. Now, I'm just going to sit tight here for a second. I know some of you are now guessing that it's possibly Thamba, a young male, a young offspring of Thandi. Like I said, I'm not sure yet. I haven't had a good look, so we'll just wait. It's always just nice to see a leopard, though. But we'll see. We'll see who it is. We'll try to work it out. To be honest, it looks like a younger male. Slightly smaller than Hosanna, but I'm not sure. Oh wow, he's just jumped into that tree. He's jumped into that guai. Hold on a second. Hold on. Let me try to get another position there for us. And also the way this young leopard's been moving around, just in terms of looking not quite nervous, but there we go. There we go. That's the view we wanted, everyone. There we go. Look at that. Wonderful. Now I'm sure some of you will be able to get a good view of him now and give us an idea of who you think he is. Judging by his size, I think this is possibly that young Thamba.
Yeah, he's a spot on the left here now.
I think so. I don't know. Now, Merce salt. The identification of leopards is sometimes quite difficult and tricky, but fortunately for us, leopards are quite territorial, so we know which leopards move through the area and more or less where they move around. What we often see is they've got a spot pattern. I just ran off down the drainage line. I'm just going to sit tight here for a second. Just wait. Maybe he comes back up again. Andrew is on the other side at least, so he can keep a lookout from that side. So, Mersault, as I was saying, the leopards have got spot patterns above their whiskers. They've got little spot patterns, and each spot pattern is different. Little dots above the whiskers, that is usually the best way to identify a leopard. However, there might be other certain markings that people pick up on. Ideally, you need to get a clear picture of the face. I always say, it's wonderful to know which leopards are around in the area, and obviously these are characters of Safari Live, leopards that we see on a regular basis, so it is wonderful to know who's moving around. When I'm guiding guests, though, you know what, even though we may know the leopards in the area, it's just wonderful to see a leopard. It doesn't matter if it's a male or if it's a female or which specific leopard it is. I always feel that it's just wonderful to see a leopard because they're elusive cats and they are beautiful, beautiful predators. But, in these situations and for guides that work in the areas, it's nice to know more or less which leopards are around, whose territories are in which area. So it does help us. But like I said, seeing a leopard is just fantastic. Now, I'm going to see if we can get another glimpse of him. All right, now, some of you have just confirmed that it is Thamba. So it is that young male, and that's why I think he's moving around quite a bit. I wonder if he's gone back down into that drainage. We'll see if we can get down there. All right. Okay, well, I'm going to try and get into another position to see if we can see this young male again. While I do that, let's head back to Scotty D up in the Mara.
Well, like Brian says, any leopard is a good leopard to be viewing. We are certainly jealous. I keep getting Byron and Brian mixed up. I don't know why. Apologies for that, Byron. So we've still got about 25 minutes or so before we get into the area where these Chitwa were left yesterday evening. One of them does have a radio transmitting collar on it, or a GPS collar rather. However, it was cloudy this morning, so their position at 6 a.m. was not sent through to the researchers. So we've got a little bit of work to do to try and establish where exactly they are. And our plans are to spend the entire day with them, see what they get up to, and we'll stay as long as we can into the evening. We've got quite a way to travel back to camp, so we'll kind of work out how the prospects are looking as to when we will actually leave them this evening. But looking forward to a whole day out. What a privilege to be able to spend the whole day with them. Anna Marie, you'd like to know how the animals find shade on the hotter parts of the day, during the hotter times of the day. With difficulty here because there's not many trees around, but if they're desperate they can find a tree. I mean, there's one or two dotted about. Thankfully though, this area is not very hot. Even during summer, it's not a very hot and humid area like it gets in Djuma in the summer. It's cool, crisp days. As you can see, I'm in a jersey. I've got another one underneath this. So it's still quite fresh, and it's about 9 o'clock-ish in the morning, I would guess. So it's not too much of an issue for them. And I guess they don't need to worry about their skin as much as we do as humans with regards to getting burns. Yesterday though, there was, when we were driving through the kind of front runners of the migration that are heading up the kind of western corridor into the Masai Mara, there was a whole bunch of wildebeest all clumped under the only shade that was there. So I guess if it's available they enjoy it, but if not they can make do without it. Alright, well we're going to keep moving as quickly as we can without rattling the vehicle to pieces, and while we do so we're going to send you back to Brent, who's perusing along the Masai Mara River.
We're done with the Mara River, no sign of any paradise lions, so I'm going to go take this sneaky little road that runs, we're not too far from the river, we're just back from the river, and I've found lions in this little thicket here on the right a few times. Now I did see some hyenas looking a little bit excited up here. Now I've lost sight of them in the long grass, and I'm just going to have a quick look. And the other thing I want to do is get up onto this high ground up ahead here and see if I can spy some wildly beasts, see whether all those wildebeest that crossed yesterday, where have they gone, and have any other lions, cheetahs, hyenas or leopards snacked upon them. I bumped into the Mara Hyena project a little bit earlier, and they said North Clan has eaten a few wildebeest, but there are not that many wildebeest around there. They said they actually brought a whole carcass back to the den, so that's quite interesting. And as I say, this is always a good spot to check along the edge of these croton thickets here, not only for, of course, lions, but also for leopard. Now, there's a big male leopard in this area, as well as a female. The female I have seen on a couple of occasions, but she's quite skittish. Remember, hashtag Safari Live if you would like to ask us any questions. Hi Michelle. Michelle was asking if there are leopards in the Mara. Indeed there are, Michelle, quite a lot in fact. and they inhabit almost all the different ecosystems of the Mara. In the areas where there's a lot of long grass, it's quite difficult to see them at the moment, but let me think. I've seen quite a lot of leopards in the last little while, especially while we've been out all night. We've seen a couple of different males on the
Righty, we're back again, everybody, on the river camera. I think we're looking at Dusty Crossing, where, well, there's not a lot of dust, there's a lot of green grass, and one or two birds flying past. Let's go see if I can't move it. Sorry. No, I don't seem to be able to move it at all. That's deeply irksome. Ah, there we go. It's now moving. Anyway, the wildebeest crossing seems to have dissipated somewhat, as Brent Leo Smith no doubt has told you. Can we go to the mountain cam, please? There we have the mountain cam. Now, what I was hoping to show you is my new favourite friends, the Bergvecht lizard. Not lizard, I keep calling them lizards. They're weavers. They are not lizards. And they like to come and sit on the windowsill there and shout at me. But they also sit in this tree over here. But now they are not sitting in that tree. So what we're going to do is go across here and see if I can't find a bird in this rather nice tree. While I'm doing that, let's just go across to Baron, who very remarkably has managed to find the largest eared leopard in all the world.
Oh, I'm trying my best, everyone. No, we haven't seen him again. He just dropped down. That's that guarri tree that he was sitting in over just on the other side of the drainage line. He was in there and he came down this side, drove around, and he's disappeared. Now, these young leopards can do that very, very easily. They can just disappear. I think he's still around here somewhere. Actually, positive he's still around here. But I think he's just in this thicket. You can see it's very, very thick around here. Let's see. Let's try have a look. I'm sure he's lying down here somewhere. So we're going to check very, very carefully. Natalie, you asked if there could be leopards seen around Djuma that are not identified. Natalie, almost certainly. Leopards move around constantly, and you're going to have new leopards coming into the area looking for territory. Leopards that get dispersed by other leopards. So I'm just going to have a little squeeze through here. So Natalie, yes, definitely there'd be new leopards arriving and moving in and out of the area very, very often. Now let's just have a look here. Come on, I've got a feeling he's around here somewhere, but he's doing a very, very good job at hiding from us. You know what, I'm just going to check here, Seb. You know what, I might just get myself into a position that we can't get out again. But let's have a look. I also don't want to startle this young leopard, so I'm just being very, very cautious and checking carefully to see where he is. Well, he's definitely given us the slip, that's for sure. Just check behind there, Sabi. I wonder if he's not down there somewhere. Let's just have a look around here. So, and Natalie, as I was saying, with leopards and leopards moving around, you often get well, firstly, you'll get territorial leopards, so big dominant males, like, let's say, Tingana, for example, and Mvula. They're dominant male leopards, has been around for a long time, big territories. And within their territories, there'll be a number of females that are also territorial. Now, those females will defend their territories against other leopards. Then what happens is, with the females, when they're offspring, usually what happens is the female cubs will get given a portion of their territory. It will be given to them by the adults, by the parents, by the female. The young males, however, will be probably be pushed out, and they'll have to disperse and go and look for their own territory and wait until they're big enough and old enough to defend their territory against older males or bigger males. But while they are being dispersed, you can get leopards moving around. Same happens with females. Females might get pushed out by other females, and they'll have to move around and look for areas that are not occupied, that they can take up their territory. So you do constantly get leopards moving around. Some leopards will go out of their territory. For example, females. Females will go out of their territory to look for a big dominant male leopard when they are looking to mate. So it shows you that they can expand their territory and move around a lot. Now, this territory used to be a female leopard known as Karula, and we didn't, I'm trying to think, we didn't really see Tandi around here that often. But now I suppose there's a vacant area, so for her to move through here is not a problem. Just watch out there, Sebis.
There's the mountain camera indeed. Not a source of great humour for anyone else except Byron, but of course he is from the south of Johannesburg and therefore has a sense of humour that no one else understands. Now, we are looking at the mountain camera, and I was hoping to find some birdies in amongst the foliage here. This is a camphor tree, for those who didn't know. I didn't know until yesterday either. That's what that is. There's an acacia tree of some description over there. I'm not sure which one it is. And we saw some wonderful chin spot batis there yesterday. Now, I will tell you, of course, most do not notice the subtle differences in the chin spot batis call, but over here it does not sound like it does in South Africa. So in South Africa it sounds like this. But over here there's a perfect fourth between the first note and the second note. Now whether I'm able to sort that out by whistling it, I'm not sure, but I'll try. That's what it sounds like here. And in fact, I heard one yesterday going, which I thought was quite amazing. So if you haven't heard the difference between those, then don't worry about it. If you have, you can go, well, that is astounding. I'm so amazed. Now, Travis, you're wondering why the acacia trees are so spread out here. Well, Travis, you'll find that all trees, unless they are next to rivers and fringing rivers or on the mountainsides, are all spread out, and that's just because of the nature of the soil, the presence of the elephants here, and the combination of that and of course human activity in this area has resulted in a great deal of wood being removed from the area and the maintenance of a grassland. Also fire would have had something to do with that. But basically this is just naturally a more open area. The soil is conducive to grass growth, and you will find that higher rainfall areas like this, higher rainfall than the Sabi sand, for example, favor grass growth because, of course, with the soil, in combination with the soil holds water, and because there's a bit more rain, the surface layer of the soil holds water, and that means that the grass is able to outcompete the seedlings of the trees. Fern, you say, does the Mara ever become a floodplain? Not this particular area. There's an olive balloon in the back. Balloon. That is quite amazing. There's an olive baboon in the background there that you can see just walking carefully across the plains. This doesn't become a floodplain, but what I'll do is I'll swing across here. Now, the light is still not great for this camera, so I'll just swing across, and I will show you that there are marshy areas. Can you see the sort of, in the mists of the distance there, you can see there that line of trees. That is the Mara River. And the Mara River absolutely has got various areas that are slightly low-lying and that have more clayey soil that hold water that become very marshy. The area, the other side of the river that I'm looking towards right now is very marshy, and in fact it is the marsh from which the Marsh Pride derives its name. Some of the areas around through which Brent drove today are a little bit marshy when there's heavy rain, but otherwise there are patches of marsh, but there are patches of dry. Okay, let's go across to... No, we're not. Let's head across to Brent Leo Smith, because apparently he's in a dry area.
Yes, we're very far away from the floodplains and marshes of the Mara. We're up on the crests to the south of Serena. Now, I've seen little isolated groups of wildebeest, no more than about 15 in a group, but I'm just trying to get up onto some high ground, see if we can find a big congregation of them. I've got some zebras over there. And of course your binoculars are very important when you are out in this ecosystem. But there's another reason I'm in this area. This is the area of the rosy-throated longclaw. So I've seen them often on the side of the road here, so I'm keeping a very sharp lookout. So what our plan is now is that those little groups of wildebeest I have seen seem to be heading south. So we're going to head south and do a big loop back towards the escarpment. And go past an area called Mlima Mbili, the Two Hills. It's a very, very, very beautiful area. Hang on. What has scared the zebra? Because it certainly wasn't us. Is there a lion around? They were looking back and suddenly they've just taken off. Now, very interesting. Now, where they're looking. Now, they could just be spooked. Zebra do get spooked quite easily. I mean, they do seem to be a little bit more observant than the wildebeest. Now, they're not looking in any particular direction, so maybe they just got a fright. Now, Liz was wondering, are sunbirds migratory? Will we see them in the Mara? They occur in the Mara, and most of the sunbirds that are here in the Mara are not migratory at all. They're resident. You're not going to find them out in these vast fields of red oat grass. You get far more success with them around our camp, along the river. Seen some very beautiful sunbirds so far, and we will keep an eye out. You will get sunbirds do migrate seasonally, and you'll find certain sunbirds like bronzies and malachites and scarlet tufts are altitudinal migrants, so depending on the time of the year they'll migrate up and down, and of course this is to find the best flowers and nectar at that time of the year. Sorry, I'm just keeping a lookout. These zebra are very jumpy. Now that doesn't mean they might just be jumpy because they've had a run-in with lions already, so it might not be here, it might be a little bit further down the drag. Now this area is also, it doesn't look like it, you wouldn't think this is a very good birding area, but it is. We've got a whole host of pipits, larks, sparrow larks, and longclaws, and some widow birds as well, although I haven't seen the widows for a while. I think they're going to be in the slightly more marshy areas. Now, as we move into this area, we move into Egyptian goose pride territory, away from the river. Now, speaking of birds, we've got some monster birds. Large mammals around. It is, I don't know if anyone's watched that movie No Country for Old Men, but I'm just going to keep quiet for a second. You can just listen. There's a slight breeze, and that's about it. Not even a bird tweeting. Actually, I can hear plovers in the distance chirping away. If you listen very, very carefully, you can just hear some birds, but quite far away. Now, it's hard to imagine that tomorrow even, or the next day, this whole area could become a cacophony of gnoos. But at the moment it is deathly silent. It's actually quite special to find places in the world where you can have that absolute silence, not the sound of a vehicle, not the sound of a bird, of anything. And it's not to say that there's not life here. There's an incredible amount of life, even without the wildebeest, the small mammals, the mice, the rodents that live in the grass, the reptiles. But we're going to keep searching for, one would think, quite easy to find, a whole mass of thousands of wildebeest. But while we do that, it seems like Byron is looking for something that's quite a lot harder to find, since there's only one, and it's got really good camouflage. Thamba.
Okay, so I don't know what's happened. This leopard has disappeared. Now, it's a known fact that leopards grow wings and fly away when they feel threatened. Now, I don't know where this young male leopard has gone. He's disappeared completely. I think he's lying in here somewhere, but for the life of me, I can't find him. I can't find him at all. But I wouldn't be surprised if he's just in this thicket right here next to us, because we've been driving around in circles searching, but absolutely no sign of him. I'm going to use my binoculars quickly and scan this little thicket very carefully. I was hoping maybe we even hear him moving through the grass, but nothing. Absolutely just disappeared on us. And leopards can do that. I've followed leopards many times. You literally go around a tree, you lose a view of them for a minute, and they disappear. Absolutely gone. It's amazing. And that is why it is so special and so wonderful when we do see them, because they can disappear so quickly. Oh, it's amazing. Really is amazing. Let's do one more little loop around here. Just see. Can't give up just yet. As you can see, it's a perfect spot for this young leopard. Now, I do think what is going to happen is, I think Thandi, his mother, has probably left him here on purpose. She's most likely off hunting. And later she'll probably return to this area and then come and fetch him. So I think he'll stay here, and also he's now at that age where this leopard is getting more adventurous. So with him being more adventurous, he'd be looking around, moving around a lot more. Hold on, let me just check quickly. And exploring this little area while his mother's off hunting potentially. Let's just have a look up here. Anything? Nothing. Paul, you asked if they're allowed to use drones to scout the area. So most game reserves, they do not allow drones at all. Drones are not allowed to be brought into the areas. We are fortunate that we have a drone that we use from time to time, but our drone commander is on holiday at the moment. So Connor's not here. He usually flies the drone. We've got permission though just to use that drone for Safari Live, but generally drones are not allowed. And also in the Mara and that, I think drones have been banned. They're not allowed anymore either. And the thing is there's safety issues. They're worried about poaching and all of that, and people using drones for the wrong reasons. So, Paul, they don't really use drones, and most lodges do not allow drones to be used. You know what, I'm going to do a loop around here quickly. Let's just see. Really exploring this little drainage area, which is quite nice. I don't know where this leopard has gone, where he has disappeared to. It's a wonderful area for this leopard to be in. So, as I was saying, I think he'll probably just hang around here and wait for his mother to return at some point. But I think we're going to move out of this area now. Also, it just seems as if he was a little bit shy of the vehicles because he's by himself. The mother isn't around. So I think we'll maybe move out of this area so we don't make it, or don't stress him out too much. But I do think it is around here somewhere. I'll just do one more check up the road. Maybe he double backed on us. We'll see. But let's head back to Brent, who's now got a herd of wildebeest.
Well, there we go. We've managed to track down a big herd of wildebeest with an ostrich moping around in the front. I say moping because he's got no girlfriends and it's a male. Now, I was staring at the wildebeest, and all of a sudden, literally just before Byron was linking, I looked to the left of the road and went, lion! And with a bit of shock, there we go. Let's go have a look. One of the Egyptian goose members. And those wildebeest must have passed through here, so they might be quite full. Let's a little bit closer, and then we're definitely going to head towards those wildebeest. It looks like there's at least probably 20 or 30,000. I'm hoping that there's a few more. And as we go directly towards Limambili, I can see 2-3 lions at the moment. I'm just going to find a spot to get off here and get a bit closer to them. Now, the lions in this area seem to really like a borrow pit, or as in East Africa they call them marum pits, which a borrow pit is where you borrow soil to work on the roads, but also what happens is they become little water reservoirs. So, and especially now at the dry time of the year, quite a lot of the animals utilize them. Okay. Well, it seems like coming up to the high ground was definitely a good idea. Now that is a very good question. Lady Starfire is wondering, do we hear the lions from further away in the Mara? Well, if the conditions are right, yes we do. But what happens is there's a lot of these little undulating valleys, so sometimes it can actually be quite tricky to find a lion that's calling. And I've spent many hours when out all night trying to decipher exactly which little valley that the lions are calling from. Hello, gooses. Well, I think it's the gooses, but you have to be very careful about immediately guessing which pride is what here. The prides are very fluid, and a lot of them are related, so there is quite a lot of crossover between the different female prides. Hang on, let's just go into low range. Mr. Idul, and he was wondering also about that fluidity of lion prides in the area, and do they ever change prides? They do. What happens is they'll split off a pride and migrate and form another new pride, but that doesn't mean they won't come together with the old pride from time to time. But the longer they spend apart, the less likely they are ever to rejoin. And you've always got to be careful in this part of the Mara for holes and rocks in the long grasses. Now that is a lazy looking lioness. Oh, she's popped her head up. Now, let me just go forward a little bit. That is gorgeous. Absolutely gorgeous. You are gorgeous. You are a very pretty and very fat girl. Okay, so I do apologize for some clicks. We are trying to get all the ID pictures of these different different prides, so we can start figuring out who's who in this, well, wonderful not zoo. So I will show you what I'm specifically taking pictures of. Now I'm going to wait for it to turn. Let's turn, lovely lady. I know you've got a very... There we go, good girl. Now Now, if you want to join in this IDing of lion fun, grab some screenshots. I'm going to ask Andre to zoom in on the cheek of the lion. So, like leopards, lions have individual spot patterns that are used for identification. So, it could be a lot of fun. I know a lot of you like IDing leopards. Now, this is a step up. This is far more difficult, far more challenging, but I'm sure you guys are up to it. Remember to share the different IDs with us. We're using the hashtag #SafariLive. Now, when we look at lion IDs, we look at distinguishing features. Outside of the spot pattern, we look at notches in the ears, visible scars, missing tips to the tail, things like that will all be very, very useful when it comes to IDing these different individuals. Now, you can see she's breathing very, very heavily. And so I think she must have snacked on some wildebeest that came past. White Lady Irwin wants to know, is it normal to have those spots on an adult lioness? So on cubs, they're quite common, and they're there to help disguise the cubs when the mothers leave them to go off hunting. But yes, it is quite common for some adults to have remnant cub spots, and even if you look carefully at some of the Inkahuma lionesses, you will see them. Now, like with all different animals, different individuals, it might be more pronounced in others. So there we go. Now, there we go. Isn't she absolutely gorgeous? Now, I'm assuming this is part of the Egyptian goose pride, but I could be wrong. You never know. So that's why we're taking these photographs to build ID kits on the individual animals, and also, of course, from a position point of view, exactly where they are. Now, we've got photos of her. Now, let's have a look. I did see a second lion just up ahead here. Now, let's have a quick squiz. Where it was lying in this longer grass on the left. There we go. It's another lioness. Hello, big girl. I do apologize. I did forget to tell you something very important. Okay, so remember, we're going to get some ID shots of her as well. Quickly, before she drops her head, which I think she's about to. Oh, are we too late? Oh, at least I can get left-hand spots. Sort of. Now, why it's called the Egyptian goose pride. Now, there is a marron pit, just like this one that they're lying on, further down this road. That is frequented by a pair of Egyptian goose, and that little marron pit or pond got named Egyptian Goose Pond, and the pride spends a lot of time hanging about that pond, so that's where the name came from, the Egyptian Goose Pride. I quite like it. The gooses. Very lazy, fat gooses this morning. Let me see if I can just get a little bit higher. Oh, there we go. Now, oh, she's popped her head up. There we go. Remember the ID shots. We want the spot patterns, ears, any distinguishing nicks out of a nose, anything like that. Oh, she's tired. Kitty. Shame. Such a belly full of wildebeest. Okay. Should be enough to work on. There's the side profile. That's much easier, much better to work with when doing ID kits. Well, I think these ladies are nice and full. Not going to be going anywhere for any time too soon. So it is actually supposed to be quite a big pride. I think 9 lionesses in total. Now, what I recommend for all of those who are interested in helping us ID these cats, what you do is get a folder and make sure we tell you what area we're in. So I'm right down south. So there we go. Next profile. Don't turn. Quickly, guys. There we go. So what you do is keep a folder now, and I would say for the moment, apart from sort of the Angamas, Salas, and the Lookout or Purungut Pride, a lot of what we do is guesswork. So it would be really, really useful that everyone could get involved. A nice fun project for the whole Safari Live family, figuring out the lion pride dynamics. So I'm going to leave these ladies to lounge about on their little mound here. I'm going to head towards those massive herds of wildebeest, and hopefully we can find the rest of the pride, maybe on the stalk. In the meantime, let's go see how Scotty's stalk for those 5 male cheetah is going.
Well, it sure has been a long and bumpy mission to finally get us into the area where these 5 male cheetah were seen yesterday. They were seen further down to the south and west of us, but they could have moved a large distance from when they were last seen yesterday evening to where they could be now. So now our work begins. I've just asked one vehicle that we saw passing by if there's any updates. He hasn't heard anything from today, but at least we are in the area and looking forward to hopefully track down these animals shortly. But we found another cool predator in the meantime at about 2 o'clock there, Dave. Doesn't look like it's doing much at the moment. Doing some preening. And really I'm enjoying seeing more and more of these secretary birds as we spend more time in the Mara. There's a very healthy population of them here, because the habitat is very, very well suited to their lifestyle and their hunting techniques. They like big open grasslands that they walk through. And it's actually quite uncommon to see one just standing around like this. It's obviously had a successful morning hunting. Maybe it's gobbled up a snake. That's one of their favorite prey items. Sure, and it is just deathly still and calm this morning. Beautiful. Hello, Tamir. You would like to know if the secretary birds have got adapted thick skin on their legs to try and assist in preventing snakes biting them. And yes, their legs are quite scaly, so there will be some level of protection against a snake's fangs, but how much I'm not entirely sure. They probably rely more on the speed that they hammer their feet down as they bludgeon their prey to death. And with a lot of the snake-eating birds, even the brown snake eagle, they cannot rely on having thick skin to stop the snake's fangs penetrating them. If they were to be bitten by one, they need to rely more on being very quick and avoid being bitten. Because I'm fairly certain if one of these got a bite from a venomous snake like a black mamba, that would probably be the end of the road for it. Interestingly though, honey badgers are one animal that seem to have an incredible tolerance to snake venom, and there have been various accounts of them being bitten by snakes that they are attacking, and they just roll up in a ball next to the snake once it's dead, have a snooze, sleep off the venom, and wake up, shake their head, and then eat the snake. So that's something that'll be fascinating to share with you guys. Yes, Mischief, I couldn't agree more. This is a very, very fancy bird, and especially with the wind blowing slightly from behind it, causing its very elaborate hairdo to be properly flared out. Come on, find a snake. I've never seen one of these birds catch and kill a snake, so it would be an epic thing to be able to witness. Some topi in the background, Thompson's gazelle, and lots of open space. Now we got to keep moving. I want to try my best to get a glimpse of these cheetah before the end of the morning safari. Daniel, you would like to know if these birds can fly. Yes, they can. They take a bit of a run up before they take off. and they are good flyers. They've got a big wingspan, but they don't spend any of their time flying around looking for food. They fly into an area and then walk in order to try and find their prey. So you don't see them flying too much. They're actually quite an interesting bird to see flying because of how long they are. All right, we are going to prosper forth and send you back to Byron.
All right, now we are heading towards Buffelshoek Dam. It looks like there's a lot going on up in the Mara at the moment, which is great. We didn't get enough view of Thamba. He was hiding, but I said I was going to look for elephant, and I think I've just found one. A few, actually. Yay! Ta-da! A nice herd of elephant. Isn't that great? Well, that one seems to be swaying his foot slightly. Her foot, sorry. I don't know why. It's always a very, very welcome surprise to see some elephant. Hold on, I'm going to get a nice view of them here for us. There we go. Seb, is that okay?
Yeah, thank you.
Sammy Jane, you were excited to see elephant. Well, I am sharing in the excitement then too, because I love elephant. And I'm going to sit here quietly. Maybe these elephant move close to us. Let's see, let's see. Small herd, those are just females and youngsters. Here comes another young one right here. Mishka, now perhaps you were referring to this one that was standing in the road earlier. Now this is a teenager. So youngish female, not a very big female, but hang on, look what we've got here. Here comes a beautiful big bull. Now let's see how he reacts to us. Just going to sit quietly. Ah, wonderful. I love seeing these big bulls. You can see he's much, much larger than those other elephant that just moved past us. I still think he could probably get a bit bigger. He doesn't look too old, but he's probably in his 30s, I would say. Somewhere around there, mid-30s, maybe a little bit older. He has got prominent indentations in his forehead, some beautiful tusks. Those are all signs of age. So I would say maybe mid to late 30s, somewhere around there. It's quite difficult to age these animals, I suppose, at times. But I think that's probably how old he is. Let's see. It would be wonderful if he decided to just walk up to us. I wonder where they're heading. The elephants, they do look for water during the day quite regularly, especially now in winter when it is very dry. So they could possibly be heading towards a dam at some point, maybe towards Buffelshoek Dam. We're not far from there. Let's see which way he decides to go. We're just going to sit very still. Wow, he's beautiful. Magnificent bull. Awesome. Right behind us. Right, let me turn around for you, Seb, and make it a bit easier. Otherwise, Seb's going to twist himself into a pretzel, I think, trying to turn around and film these ellies. Adele and Natalie, you asked how elephants react if one hurt another one accidentally. Well, elephants do hurt or harm each other from time to time, and it's mainly the big bulls. They will fight one another. They will fight for basically for dominance, and they challenge one another. And from time to time, and it has happened before, not often, but I have seen it before, where an elephant has killed another elephant. A big bull has killed another bull. And usually that doesn't happen with the elephants, though. Within the herd, they're actually quite, what's the word? They're tolerant of each other. Within a herd, it's usually a family group, so they don't normally harm one another, and there's a magpie shrike calling. I just heard that call of it now. But as I was saying, within a herd of elephants, you may get elephant pushing one another around and challenging one another, but they generally don't harm each other. Only time elephant really would harm each other, from what I've seen, is when big bulls get into fights. You may get maybe a female being a little bit protective of a herd if another herd arrives. But generally not. The elephants aren't really aggressive towards each other unless it's big males. But they're very protective. The elephant, generally, if one gives a distress call, then the rest of the herd do come back and they try and help them. So whenever there's a distress call from an elephant, whole herd come together and they'll try and protect whichever elephant is in potential danger. So they are very protective. Now we're going to leave this herd of, they're leaving us, they're moving on. We'll see if we can find more maybe. Let's head to Brent, who's got another herd of wildebeest.
Well, this is the big herd we saw, or the edge of the big herd we saw from the distance. Now, they extend down into the Lagaya and Lov Valley. Lagaya and Lov means the Elephant Valley, well, the Elephant Drainage Line Valley, heading towards the west of us, towards the escarpment. Now, we did find some relatively fresh action from where wildebeest had been eaten last night. So we're right on the edge of a different lion pride territory here. Now, it's possible, especially if the wildebeest are around, the biggest pride in the triangle, one we don't get to see too often, the border pride, might come up from Tanzania into this area around Mlimambili, the two hills. Now, this is also that area where we've seen that absolutely gorgeous big male leopard, and I think he will definitely be very happy that the migration has arrived in his territory. Now, the one problem about having the sea of beautiful red oats grass is that it's quite long, and sometimes it means I need to get up quite high just to see if down into the grass. So Paul would like to know, how long will the animals stay in the Mara and where will they go next? Well, that's all dependent on rains. So they're probably going to stay here till September, and then they'll start heading south, back into the Serengeti as the early rains or the short rains start, and they will be heading down towards Indutu, or the southern plains in the Serengeti, and that's where they give birth. So now, not moving it's not really a circle, because it changes constantly depending on where there's been rain, where there hasn't been rain. So it's each year is completely different. They might spend longer in the Mara this year than they did last year. So it all just depends on the availability of grass, and the availability of the quality of grass, so I rather say. So even a slight little storm over a certain patch around here will enhance that grazing. The grass will have a little growth spurt, and that will even attract them onto that. They'll whap that flat, then they'll go off somewhere else, but then it'll rain here again, that'll bring them back. So it's not a set migration in stone. It's a constant movement depending on food availability and where the local rains are falling. Now, here we are at the two little hills, and they are very little hills, the Mlimembili. Now, of course, it's also the only sort of shade and cover around here, so it's always a good spot to look for predators. But it looks like, oh goodness, yes, we have found the migration. It seems like there's also been a movement of the western migration, the ones that come up from the Grumeti River or Grumeti Reserve up. They do not go onto the other side of the river, and they've been hanging around this area, but they haven't quite crossed into it yet. But now it looks like they are on their way up into this area. Now I'm just going to go a little bit further forward here and give you a good scan of what's going on. Now, of course, they have come into this area, but they could easily turn around and go back towards Tanzania, depending on rain. But at the moment, as you can see, we've got a massive wildebeest. Those ones are actually heading south, away from us. So I wonder if these are the ones that crossed the river yesterday. But if we... Now, behind this closest line to us, on the opposite hill, there's also quite a few. I can't see what direction they're going just yet. They're a bit far. Let's bring out the old binoculars. General direction does seem to be to the south, but the hills are littered with wildebeest in the distance. So I'm going to go have a quick perusal around this area. Oh, there's a retired wildebeest to our right. So I said, around these little hills, lion, leopard, cheetah will all take advantage of what little cover there is. And then there we go. And well, let's leave the retired wildebeest, see if we can find some still alive lions, leopards or cheetahs. While we do that, Byron is with some more beautiful elephants.
So we have found some more elephant, and this one is feeding on some bark from a buffalo thorn, part of the branch, and that's feeding on actually that whole branch. But yeah, it looks like there are a lot of elephant around here, which is wonderful. There's one not far from Sebastian, just behind us, but it's behind some trees, but eyeing the French connection out. Actually just so nice and peaceful, just sitting here watching the elephant, listening to them feed. Sammy Jane, you asked how tall can bulls get. Now, a big bull elephant, I think, can get to about 3.5 or 4 meters tall at shoulder height. Let me check my dusty field guide and just make sure I haven't given you the incorrect information. But no, big bulls up to about 4 meters, I think, at shoulder height. Maybe 4.5 meters. So, hold on a second. Let me double check here and just see what the book says. Yeah, so shoulder height about 3.5 to 4 meters exactly. So that's shoulder height. So when they raise their heads, that'll probably be another meter or so. So maybe in 5 meters in total. They really lift their heads up and make themselves look bigger. So that's very, very tall, very, very big. And big bulls can get up to 5 or 6 tons. Now, when I was training, James shouted at me once, and some of you know the story, the broomstick story, because I stopped an elephant charge, but all I had with me was a stick that I was walking with, and that's not what they wanted us to really do when we were training. So James shouted at me, and I'll never forget him saying, "You challenged a 5-ton elephant bull." He says, "What did you think you were going to do?" Anyway, so James forgave me, fortunately, and he still let me guide somehow. I think they were possibly very, very desperate. I'm going to sit around with these elephants a little bit longer. Let's head back to Scotty D with more of the migration.
Well, what an awesome scene this is as hundreds of wildebeest stream towards us. We are getting closer to the area of where these 5 male cheetah could pop up, but I don't think they have been found today. We're trying to gather reports from other vehicles that we come across. Epic scenes. I always am fascinated by the huge numbers of these animals moving, often just being led by one individual, and wonder how they go about making their plans. They all seem to know where they're going though. So, I'm not sure where these wildebeest are planning on heading actually, because there's not too much grass that I know of in the area that they're heading to, but they seem to have some kind of a plan in mind. There seems to be a lot more wildebeest in this area from when we were last here on Saturday morning. So the herds do continue to press north deeper into the Mara Reserve as well as into the triangle on the opposite side of the river to us. In the coming weeks we're going to get more and more action unfolding, which I'm certainly looking forward to share with you. Very good. It sure is heating up now. I am taking off one of my layers. If you can hear me squeaking around there. Holly, you'd like to know how many wildebeest are in each herd. That's an impossible question to answer. They all vary hugely, and they come and go and join and disband. There's no set formulas with them. But I mean, if we just count how many are in frame now, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Call it 20. And if you're to just pan to the left, Dave, and every full frame, if we just go, that'll be another 40, 50, 60. So, I mean, there are hundreds just in this herd, and many, many more behind from where they're coming from. It would be a wonderful thing to be able to work out more accurately. I guess with the way technology is developing, we will be able to have a better idea of exactly how many animals are in each herd and how they split up and rejoin. But it certainly is something that does not have a set plan or program. Looks like there's some males trying to get lucky with 1 or 2 of the females within this herd. I'm surprised these guys are quite silent. Usually when there's this many of them, they're making a bit more of a noise, but we can't hear any of the characteristic. But that is a sound that is going to fill our ears in the coming weeks as more and more of these animals surround us. That big bull standing head and shoulders above the rest of them. That's why he's possibly throwing his weight around a little bit. Okay. Alright, well, we're going to keep heading on. Hopefully find some information on where these boys are up to. If any of you have just joined the safari, we are going to be out here the whole day. I'm teamed up with Davy on camera, so there's lots of time, and if we do find them after the safari, at least we'll be able to go live on Facebook. So still good prospects. We're going to keep on hunting and send you back to Byron.
The elephant haven't really moved far from us. This one in particular is really enjoying that buffalo thorn, stripping the bark off of that branch completely. You can see how, look at that, really strip the bark off of that branch. Now there are a lot of nutrients in the bark of the trees, and that's why the elephants do it. So they often bite the branches and roll them in their mouth to strip the bark off completely. And they're really enjoying it. It's a young male. It's just enjoying this. There are a number of elephant around us, and it's amazing. I always find it fascinating how they're able to feed in these branches and these trees that have these incredibly sharp thorns on them, and it doesn't seem to bother them at all. That is quite fascinating. Sean, the breeding age of an elephant, I would say, firstly with bulls, Sean, with the big bulls, they, I would say probably to late 20s, the bulls will probably start looking to mate with females, but usually it's the bigger, older, more dominant bulls that do get to mate, because they'll challenge those younger bulls. They'd probably be able to mate within their 20s, but most likely only get a chance when they're a bit older and a bit more dominant. With females, I'm trying to think, in their late teens. I think I remember reading something somewhere, and if somebody has got information on that, they can send it through to us. But I think it's late teens that the young females might mate for the first time. So 18 to 20, somewhere around there. I think I remember reading something like that. If I'm wrong, just let me know. But I think that's more or less what the. Well, James Henry says from early as. Well, I'm not going to argue with Mr. Henry or Commander Bond. Says he is 9 years old. That's really young. I'm very surprised at that. But again, I suppose they probably. I wonder if they'd be successful in with that mating, if they will then fall pregnant and give birth to a calf. After that, it's 22 months gestation period for an elephant. But so that's very interesting. That it's that young. I thought it was a little bit later into their teens. Thank you, James. Lisa, now the must period that the males go into when they're ready to mate, a lot of testosterone and hormones flowing through their body. Now that must period can basically last. With the younger males, it happens quite frequently, but it's suppressed by bigger, older, dominant males, so it won't be long periods of time, maybe 2 or 3 weeks, and then it goes away again. With the big, older males, they'll go into must for long periods of time. Sometimes it can last a number of weeks, and that's when they really are looking to mate with females. But the bigger, older males, that must period will last much, much longer. The younger elephant, the younger bulls, it won't be as long. It'll be shorter periods of time that they go must for. Sure, it's starting to warm up now, really, really nicely. Sure. I actually remembered a joke, and I haven't told a joke for a while, so perhaps today, maybe the elephant is very excited at my joke. So perhaps today I'll tell a joke instead of tip of the day. How's that? So the little kids were sitting in class one day, and I'm purely thinking of this because I was talking about how fascinating the elephant are when they're feeding on these thorn trees. These kids were sitting in class one day, and she was going around the class, and she said, please give me sentences of all these different words, and the kids were all excited and giving the teacher sentences with these words that she was giving them. And she asked one little boy, please give me a sentence with the word fascinate. And he thought to himself, and he said, the other day he got a new jacket for his birthday, and on his jacket he had 9 buttons, but he only fascinate. I'm sure James is rolling around laughing at that. Anyway, it's been a long morning, everyone. James is apparently upset about my joke. It's a pity we weren't going back to James now. We could hear what he has to say. But we're going to head to Brent, who's apparently got vultures at the moment.
Well, yes, we've got some rupels, griffins, and white-backed vultures feeding on the remnants of a poor gnu, who will no longer be newing his way across the open grasslands of the Masai Mara. Now, finding the culprits that committed this heinous murder is proving to be a little bit difficult. I think they are quite close by. There's a little rocky ridge up ahead that, if I was a lion, that's where I'd go have a snooze. Now, of course, the tree is occupied by wildebeest there, but ahead of us there's a little gully, and on the other side there is some croton thickets, and there's also some rocks. So there we go, back to the left a little bit. I think if I was a lion, that's where I would go. I'll lay about in there, look down upon where the wildebeest and zebra are, and await my next opportunity, but I can't see any lions there at the moment. And you can also see there's quite a few vultures up ahead on the termite mounds in front of that little rocky ridge, so maybe there was another murder that took place around there. Now, this is definitely by far the largest group of zebra and wildebeest we've seen in the triangle. I would say there's probably about 200,000 or so that we've seen so far, and there could be quite a few more that we haven't managed to spot down below towards the Tanzanian border. So it is very exciting. It gives us a very much a new area that we're going to spend quite a bit of time in. Now, I'm just going to move forward a little bit so Jean-Ray can sweep off to the left and show you where we've come from. So since you left us last, we have not stopped driving through zebra and wildebeest, and we can see back up towards the hills of Lima and Mbili. Now, we're going to keep searching for any kitty cats and whatever wonders might be around the marvelous migration in the magnificent Masai Mara. But while we do that, it seems like Byron's been doing something he does quite a lot of, and that's make bad jokes. So we're going to hand you over to James to scold Byron.
I'm sure like you, well, I'm sure like me rather, you were feeling a great sense of cranial pain after Byron's joke. I put the sound on in the studio. I was doing some modifications. You can see my picture wall has fallen down. And I was assailed. I thought, well, this will be amusing. We will have an amusing anecdote to the morning. And of course, what ensued was a joke that left me wondering about the state of humanity as a species in general. Let's go and look at a crossing. There you go, everybody. Main north crossing we have. Byron, I must confess, what a breath of fresh air that fellow is. Anyway, he does make horrendous jokes, though. So we are coming towards the end of the drive, and at the very beginning of the drive, we had a huge number of wildebeest sort of massing beyond the little horizon that you can see there. We found them with the camera. A whole lot of vehicles came down to look at them. There were also lions around. And then we had a crossing, actually, at this very point, of some, I think it was 6 wildebeest, wandered across. One crocodile got sort of washed away down through the rapids here, which was quite amusing, as he made a half-hearted attempt to go towards the wildebeest. Anyway, he disappeared there. And now, not a great deal going on over here right now. So we're going to keep an eye out on all of these crossings throughout the course of the day. I suspect it's going to be a warm day. I suspect there will be some crossings, and we'll broadcast those obviously on Facebook. While I consider the, shall we say, vagaries of Byron's comedy, let's go back to him and find out what he thinks of them.
James, if you don't like my jokes, then no need to be nasty about it. I'm offended deeply. James, if you're not careful, I'll get another bungee cord. As you all know, James had an argument with a bungee cord. 1, James Henry 0. And he was quite upset that we weren't all very worried about him and compassionate, but James is tougher than he looks. I'm sure he could handle it. Now we've moved away from Buffelshoek Dam. A number of elephant, and there's still, oh, look at the baby. I can't believe I just said that like that. Oh dear. Where did that high pitch come from? I didn't. Let's see. Come on. Again, also, you see how these elephants often sway their feet like this? I'm not too sure why. I don't know if there's a specific reason or not, if they're just resting their feet. Sometimes they do. There you go. There's the little one. Isn't that cute? Always wonderful seeing these little elephant calves. I can hear them communicating with each other at the moment. Low frequency vocalizations, these grumbles that we hear from the elephant. And a lot of these younger elephants, I'm not sure if that is in fact the mother of that calf. It could possibly, she looks a little bit young, but it could possibly be. But they're all very protective over the youngsters. So all stay close and keep a close eye on that young elephant calf. You see, that elephant also lifted its back leg. They sometimes do it, they rest their feet from time to time. Well, that's the theory. Oh, look at that. There's just something about that wonderful young elephant pose the calves do when they open their ears and they raise their heads up, lift their trunks, almost trying to show off a little bit. This is a fantastic way to end off a morning safari. There's been a lot happening in the Masai Mara with Brent, Scott and James, and we were fortunate to get a glimpse of Thamba, that beautiful young male leopard, and a lot of elephant. So it's been a great morning. We unfortunately just missed the wild dogs. They came onto the property very briefly and disappeared again. But that, as we know, is often what wild dogs do. They'll run through an area and then disappear very quickly. Especially in the mornings and afternoons when they are hunting, they can cover huge distances. Alright, well, lovely to see this herd, and it might be all from us in the Sabi Sands. We're going to head back to Brent. Apparently he also has a story regarding a bungee cord.
Well, yes, I survived the bungee cord better than James did, but I did get whacked in the Adam's apple this morning while tying up the roofs. But there we go, look at that. I do love a single eland amongst other species, especially with something like zebra. The colour is just so fantastic, and that particular eland stuck out from quite a long way away, so I rushed through to try and get a nice view of it. Isn't that gorgeous? With the escarpment in the background. Now I'm hoping, as we go over this little ridge for the last few minutes, that there is going to be a kitty cat on the other side. Now, or there could be another 20 or 30,000 wildebeest. That is the joy. Now, put it this way, yesterday there were no wildebeest in this area. Now there's a couple of 100,000. Isn't that absolutely amazing? I'm constantly amazed how they just arrive. DJ is wondering, are there any conflicts between wildebeest and zebra? Not really. So they don't really compete for food, as zebra, being bulk grazers, tend to sort of mow down the grass. The wildebeest are far more picky in what they eat, so they'll nip around. So not really. I haven't seen much conflict. There might be an occasional kick or bite, especially in the big river crossings where they're all smashed together, but I wouldn't say there's any major conflict between the two species. Now, it looks like we have got lots of grass on the other side of this little ridge. Oh well, everywhere we go there's another retired wildebeest, so the lions have been busy, so they are around here somewhere, but I don't think that we're going to be able to find these particular cats in the next minute and a half or so. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to loop around and have a look at this beautiful view. Beth is wondering, what is it with us and bungee cords? Well, we use a lot of them, Beth, and after a time they become a little bit fatigued and they break or snap, and that's when we get attacked by the bungee cords. So there we go, looking down towards Limambili. Now if we go a little bit to the left, please, Jandre, so to the left of that second hill and way in the distance, lot more left. There we go, there's the first hill. Keep going to the next two hills. There we go, so that's where the crossings are. Some of them have come from the south, and let's hope that there's going to be a lot more crossings. So keep an eye on Facebook and Twitter for a live crossing feed. But from all of us here in the Masai Mara, and of course all of those back home in South Africa, we can't wait to do this all again with you on the Sunset Safari.